Now that we have found the end behavior, leading coefficient, degree of a polynomial, now what we need to find are the zeros, or what we call roots of the polynomial. Now, roots, zeros, they're also the x-intercepts of the polynomial. And so when we find these, this is the same thing as finding things such as f of x is equal to 0. We're setting the equation equal to 0, and we're finding those values. Now, be careful, because we do want to get things in factored format if possible for multiple reasons. Because we also want to talk about something called multiplicity. Multiplicity is basically the number of times a certain zero occurs. And you see this whenever you get it into that factored format. And I'm going to give you an example of this whenever something is already in factored format, such as f of x is equal to an 8x times x minus 1 squared times an x plus 3. So when we look at this, our zeros, our roots, our x-intercepts, we set each of our factors, and I'm going to go back and add that this has a 5, so x plus 3 raised to the 5th power. We set each of our factors equal to 0. So I'm going to set 8x equal to 0. I'm going to set x minus 1 equal to 0. And I'm going to set x plus 3 equal to 0 to find my actual roots, or my x-intercepts, zeros. Okay? So I get that x is equal to 0 because I would divide both sides by 8. I get that x is equal to 1 because I would add 1 to both sides. And I would get that x is equal to a negative 3 because I would subtract 3 from both sides. Now, the multiplicity of each of these zeros has to do with their exponents. If you look at the exponents for each of these factors, that is their multiplicity. So the multiplicity of this 0 is just 1. It occurs one time. It has an exponent of 1. The multiplicity of this x equal to 1 is twice. It occurs 2 times. The multiplicity of this negative 3 is 5. It occurs 5 times. And if you think about this, think about if I were to multiply this whole thing out, okay? F of x, and think about what x minus 1 squared actually means. That would mean 8x times x minus 1 times itself, x minus 1, and then we have x plus 3 5 times. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5 times. So the multiplicity is telling me how many times does that x minus 3 actually occur if I were to set each of these factors equal to 0, the multiplicity of it. Notice x minus 1, if I were to set both of these factors equal to 0, the multiplicity would be 2. And this x equal to 0, that only occurs one time. these multiplicities are going to tell us something when we're graphing. So it's going to be important to actually put things in this factored format, not just find your zeros. You're going to actually need to put them in their factored format so you know the multiplicity of everything. So in the next video, we're actually going to find the zeros and the factored format of several different polynomials.